supermarket employees face unprecedented challenges keeping grocery shelves stocked during this COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas they continue to meet and exceed these challenges while displaying, I almost lost it. While displaying courage, compassion, dedication, and leadership, as well as exemplifying customer service and community outreach. And whereas the need for supermarket employees is greater than ever because of current and growing consumer demands, as well as the reputation for excellence. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Bob Fox, Mayor of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, do hereby proclaim February 22nd, 2021 as Supermarket Employee Day in the City of Cape Girardeau and ask all citizens in honoring our supermarket heroes. They have truly been heroes throughout this pandemic. And John, you at Schnucks and the others, we greatly appreciate everything you've done and continue to do, especially with today's like today and the next few days with all the snow and whatnot. You got your people there and they took care of all the crazies out there buying stuff. So we appreciate it very, very much. Thank you. And I will bring that proclamation by Schnucks, so you've got that record of it. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Mayor. And I want to thank you for the recognition and I accept that on behalf of the Schnucks members and corporately and as well as locally. We do work hard to provide Cape Girardeau a wonderful place to shop. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks for being here again.
We
will move on to communication and reports. Council?
I have one.
Go for it.
Hey, so I'm going to get on a soapbox, a 35-second soapbox, but a good soapbox. Last week, whenever the weather hit, and I'm sitting here I live pretty much on the corner of Perryville and Cape Rock, and I see guys that in city trucks icing and cleaning and working all night long. And my soapbox is that is the service, and that is why you live in the city of Cape Girardeau, because of the services across the board that residents get. While other towns and cities are struggling with that, I look out and I see what our people and public works and every other department they do. And it just spurred my moment of seeing, a truck drive by at 3:00 in the morning. Guys probably been working for 12 to 18 hours. And I'm so proud to be a part of the city of Cape, and I see that, and kudos to that department. But then it got me thinking even more about all of the services, trash, water, everything that we are able to do for our residents. It's the best. You can draw a 150-mile radius of Cape Girardeau, and in my opinion, it's just the best. So thank you to every city employee, especially in times like this right now. So I'm off my little soapbox there.
Thank you, Robbie.
I couldn't have said that better myself, Robbie. I mean, the services that are available are incredible. The fact that our public works has been out in 12-hour shifts trying to clean up anything that comes from the sky is really just remarkable. So I just thank everybody that works for the city, everything that they do, all of the folks that have been out constantly and tirelessly working to clean streets and keep the city of Cape Girardeau moving. Thank you all so much for doing that and it's a wonderful service of living in the city of Cape. Secondarily, everybody, please, like I've said before in the past, wear your mask, socially distance, and use hand sanitizer. The COVID-19 pandemic is not over. So take caution, take precaution, and together we'll all be a healthy community and a healthy region.
Anybody else?
Yes. I got some updated numbers today regarding our homeless population. We obviously know this is some of the worst weather we've seen in a long time. But the People's Shelter in Cape currently has 32 individuals in hotels right now. So it's something to think about, our underserved population, our homeless. And also just to mention to reach out to your neighbors, our elderly neighbors, see if they need anything over the next few days, because it looks like we're going to get another storm on Wednesday or Thursday. So just be cognizant of that.
Thank you, Shannon. Stacy, you have anything? You're on mute. We can't hear you.
Thanks. Sorry. Just to jump on what Shannon was talking about, can you, Scott, maybe can you let us all know what if we see someone, perhaps on the street, struggling or who is obviously maybe needing a place, what's the best, is the police department the best first contact for people?
Yeah, or you can send them directly to the People's Shelter or to Salvation Army. Trying to think, probably those are your biggest. There's one call for help, but certainly they can't always call, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say those are the best. But failing that, they can certainly come to the police station and we can guide them there. From there, they do a lot of that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
It's up to me. I just want to kudo what Robbie and everybody said about city employees. I think I've had lots of compliments this week on how they did a great job on the streets, even side streets. This heavy snow we're having right now is a little different because it's still snowing and it's kind of senseless to get out there until it stops and they can get a handle on it. But they will be out there in 12-hour shifts when this is over and working hard to get people moving again. And we appreciate all they do. Had two different Zoom meetings recently. One was with Missouri Mayors United. And that's basically just a lot of the mayors around the state of Missouri. There are 500 and something members of that group. There were probably 60 or so on that Zoom meeting. Basically, we just discussed legislative issues of importance to cities. A lot of the same things we've talked about before, but we are working hard to get some of those passed this year. And the board of that organization is having regular conference calls with the governor, which is a first. And he is behind a lot of our efforts too. So we'll see where that leads us this year. Also, Scott and I met on Zoom with Home Doc Cities group. That is the group of cities that have casinos. And again, the main discussion was legislative issues, specifically the video lottery terminals and other things going on around the state. Had a very, very good presentation from some of the general managers from the casinos about what's happened with VLTs in other states and the ramifications of that. And it could really be a serious thing if it passes in Missouri. The last thing I'd say is, the number of people vaccinated is continuing to rise. Our COVID cases are declining. And hopefully we'll get to the point one of these days where the county will rescind the mandatory county mask order and be just a kind of a suggestion that they do it. So that's where we are. Scott, do you have anything else?
Nothing further, Mayor. I guess I would say thank you for the compliments for services. You're right. We try to do everything we can, the best we can, given the the funds we have. But we've been working really hard today on just keeping the primary routes passable, and that's been our goal while it was snowing. Hopefully, once it stops snowing this evening, then we can start opening up some of our secondary roads. But we do know that secondary roads are very stacked up, and we'll have a lot of work to do. But as soon as it stops snowing, we'll get those primaries pushed back, and then we'll get the secondary. That'll be tonight.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll move on the agenda. Next is items for discussion. And the first item there is appearances by advisory board applicants. And I think we have a few here this evening. I know, I'll just go down the list that I have. Nick Martin, are you on? May take a second for him to connect.
You should have Nick Martin, Renita Green, and Janet Ezekar.
Okay, there's Nick. Go ahead, Nick, when you're ready. Unmute yourself, please.
Okay, how about now? Let's try that.
Perfect.
All right.
No longer have that deer in the headlights look.
Yeah, the wife shoved me down the basement.
Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, well, Mayor Fox, Council, Scott, Mr. Meyer, I appreciate you guys letting me come in to introduce myself over the internet, and look forward to hopefully meeting you all in person sometime in the near future. As Mayor Fox said, my name is Nick Martin. I currently work here in Cape for a construction management / general construction firm by the name of SM Wilson. Most people are familiar with them for constructing the casino in Cape, a couple decades ago. Since then, they've wanted to establish an office down here, and I was tapped for that. Anyways, I'm going to back up just a little bit, just to tell you a little bit more about myself. I am putting my name out there for one of the open positions on the Planning and Zoning Commission. This is something that I've wanted to do for quite a while. I just haven't actually pulled the trigger and really got into it. By user error, I think I might have somehow mixed up something on the application process, not applied for it, thinking I did. That was brought to my attention by, I think, Amanda McKinney last week, and I think we've resolved that since then. But I apologize for that. So I'm Cape Girardeau. I say Cape Girardeau native. I went to high school here at Notre Dame. I graduated in 2001. After that, I stuck around, played golf for Southeast Missouri State University, and graduated with a construction management degree. And with that construction management degree, my first project I worked on in Cape, I was working for Jacobs Engineering on the federal courthouse downtown, Limos Courthouse. And I worked on that for about a year and a half. It was a really, really fun project. I think that, all in all, it was extremely successful, and definitely something that I'll never forget. From that point, I moved a couple of times. I hopped around with Jacobs. I worked on a $300 million bond program for the city of Pasadena, just outside of Houston. And then kind of stayed in Texas for a little bit, working on a $900 million capital improvements program for University Health Systems. I tried to funnel my way back around to Cape, and the next step for me there was St. Louis. I was the director of design and construction for SSM Health in St. Louis. They're Cardinal Glennon, DePaul, St. Mary's, some of those hospitals. I was there for 5 years, and then my wife's from Chaffee. I'm from here. My parents live here. My wife lives here. Or I'm sorry, my wife's parents live here. My sister. And after one kid, when we had number 2 on the way, we said we really got to start really considering a way back to Cape, something that we had been doing for a long time. So in 2014, I took a job with Drury Southwest here in Cape. It put me on the road a little more than I liked, but it was nice working for a local company, being back here, and being around family and friends, and just being back in Cape. You spend enough time in St. Louis, nothing against it, but it really makes you appreciate what you have here. So I've been back here since then. Drury Southwest, unfortunately, I think everybody knows it, but took a really big hit when the pandemic began. And because of that, I was put on the furlough list. And since then, taken a position with SM Wilson as their senior project development manager. We've been able to work with a lot of local people here. It's really exciting. And when this position came up, it is something I've actually mentioned to Robbie in the past. I've talked to him about, other people about. So it's something I've kind of had my eye on, in hopes that maybe I could help out in any way possible. Really, just anywhere. I even ventured in other departments to see if there was some way I could be of assistance. But with my background, I figured this was the best. So like I said, I'm here to serve. I want to be able to help any way I can. And looking forward to meeting you all in person. If you guys got any questions or anything at all, I'd be happy to answer whatever I can for you.
Anybody have any questions? Don't think so. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Fox.
Thanks for being here.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Next, I think I see Renita Green.
Good evening. Hi, so I'm Renita Green. I'm pastor of St. James AME Church here in Cape Girardeau. Been in Cape Girardeau for 6 years now. And I am also property manager of a 53 unit complex in Charleston, Missouri. And I am interested in being on this board for a couple of reasons. One is just in terms of a way to serve in community. The meeting times and dates and the scope of the work kind of fits with my availability and my schedule. And it's something that I'm familiar with. I know how to read zoning codes and have had to do the work of meeting codes and in terms of rehabbing this property that I'm managing. I've overseen, I've project managed this property rehab. And part of this work of this board is that really kind of piques my interest is the responsibility of the board to grant or deny zoning or licensure to liquor stores that are, or liquor establishments that are opening near churches. So it would be good to have a pastor on the board. And as we are looking to diversify our boards and commissions, I bring that to this. Being from here and having good, strong connections is great. And we need people with history and good, strong connections, but we also need people with other perspectives and who have had experiences in other places and spaces. And I've had that, and I bring that as well. And I just have familiarity with the city, how it works. I did graduate Citizens Academy, and just looking forward to serving community. So that's it.
All right. Thank you, Miss Renita. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Janet Escar. Are you there, Janet? I see you're still muted. Janet, are you there? While she's getting hooked up, I assume there's a technical issue. Is there anybody else for advisory boards?
None
Anybody?
registered. Mayor, I don't see anyone registered for that intent.
Okay. Wait a minute. I thought I just saw something popping up there.
Hey,
There she is. You're muted. Janet, can you hear me? You're muted. You still can't hear you. Can anybody hear her? I see you. Do you have a little mute button by your name?
She doesn't appear to be muted. There's not,
I think she needs to connect to the computer audio.
Do you, connect to the computer audio?
On many devices, it is an option on the bottom left. It is near the video option.
Where it says mute. Don't we just love technology?
Nicolette, should she try to disconnect and then reconnect? Is that sometimes a solution?
Yeah, we can try that. Or if you would like to invite Janet back to a future meeting, I'm not sure, forgive me, I'm not sure which board she's applying to.
Janet, if you can hear us, shake your head yes. Yes, okay. Can you connect to your computer audio? Don't see it. Okay, she just got off. Maybe she gets back on. Usually when you connect, it tells you to connect with computer audio and.
Can we go ahead and get our report from P&Z?
Right. While you're getting that figured out, we'll go ahead to Kevin Greaser for our planning and zoning report and see if she gets back on. Kevin, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So the planning and zoning meeting was held via digitally with Zoom because of the weather. Wednesday, February the 10th. There were just a few items on the agenda. Two involving McDonald's USA. The first item was a public hearing on the request of McDonald's USA LLC for an exception from Development Code Section 25-911B1 in relationship to a driveway. That was approved by the commission. The second item for McDonald's was a public hearing on the request for an exception from Development Code Section 25-804A street landscaping strip at 1701 North Kings Highway. And that was also approved. Do you have any questions about that project in particular, anyone?
Don't think so.
The next item on the agenda was a request by Cape West 18th Subdivision Record Plat. This involves the Drury Southwest organization, and that was approved. In addition, other items, Ryan Shrimplin introduced some rules of procedure for the commission. He summarized them, but it's probable that we are going to maybe in the March meeting have some additional discussion. We've had several new members to the commission. We just want to make sure that everybody's very well aware of the primary responsibilities for commission members. So Ryan's going to go in a little bit more detail so we can educate and inform the newest members of what our objective is as commission. The next item that we discussed were, because Bruce Skinner submitted his resignation just a couple of weeks ago due to conflicts with his employment, we considered applicants to take his place. We tabled that request because we were aware that the city website had been down for some period of time, and it became aware to at least a couple of us on the commission that we didn't think that we had all the applicants who had expressed an interest in the role. So we tabled it until the March meeting. I think we've already got a couple of more in the group that we did not see at the February meeting. I think that's it, though. We had a brief meeting and it was good, productive, and that's my report. Any questions?
Any questions of Kevin, anybody? Okay, thank you, Kev. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right, I'm going to leave you guys. Thank you.
The record plat for Drury Southwest for Cape West 18 subdivision is on your agenda tonight as number 10.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Okay, I don't know if Janet got back on or not. Did you still see her there, Nicolette?
Janet is no longer connected.
Okay. Maybe she was just having a technical issue. But I think she was wanting to talk to us about the golf course advisory board. So that's what that was for. Maybe she'll try to get back. Here she is again. Be patient. I think she's coming back.
Welcome, Janet. Can you hear us?
There she is.
No.
No.
Sorry.
Still can't hear you.
The mayor noted that he thought you were going to speak of your desire to be on the golf course advisory board. Is that correct? Okay. We can kind of interview you a little bit, maybe. I know you've been an avid golfer. Yes. Any yes or no questions from
Janet,
council?
do you like to play golf? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Do you have a vested interest in the betterment of the Cape Girardeau Municipal Golf Course? Thumbs up or thumbs down? All right. Do you think you'd be a good person to have on the Cape Girardeau Parks and Recreation or the Cape Girardeau Parks Golf Course Advisory Board? Thumbs up or thumbs down? All right. That's awesome.
I will say she's got a lot of financial experience, having worked for banks for years and years. So
Perfect.
that's a good thing. So we'll go from there, unless anybody else got any questions. Janet, thanks for being here.
Thanks,
Thanks
Janet.
for trying. All right. Tell Blake I said hi. All right, we will move on. Next thing on our agenda is the capital improvement plan for 2021 to 2026. And we are there.
Council, bear with me a second. I am having laptop issues and Nicolette is going to share my.
There it is.
There it is. Okay. I will go through this rather quickly because it's pretty short and very similar to what you guys have. And before I get to the question stage of this, I'll give a little more background on why this looks so much different than in past years. So document overview that was provided to this council was an introduction letter. Basically, it discussed the purpose, the funding sources, and the completed projects for the prior year. It also talks about or shows the program projects that are funded by fiscal year and then the unfunded contingent program by fiscal year. Nicolette, can you go to page 2? And now 3. The purpose of the capital improvement plan, it's a document used for identifying, evaluating long and short-term capital projects. It's a communication document. It reports capital management and strategies to the city council, public staff, and other interested parties. And it is somewhat of a financial document. It relates the needs to the financial sources and the time frame of when we're going to be done with the work. Next page, please. Project types. This is one of the major changes we did this year. We went down to a 2-type program instead of 3 types, which were environmental, transportation, and capital last year. We split them into 2 groups this year based on the funding source side of this. These are recurring fund and grant revenue projects. So your general fund monies, your enterprise fund monies are recurring. And then also grant opportunities that we have. Within this section, you'll have your administrative and IT, your airport, which is very encompassing runways, terminals, hangars, our community development, which is encompassing your road work and parking and things of that nature, fire and police within our public safety section, our parks and rec section, public works, and also our fleet. On the other project type that we have is the tax initiative projects. This separates out the various tax initiatives that we have going on. Capital improvement sales tax, the innovation fund, which is not one of the larger funds, but a very good one when we utilize it properly. Parks and stormwater tax, fire sales tax, public safety tax, and TTF. I'm sorry, transportation trust fund. Again, this comes back to the various revenue sources that we have, and these are dictated by what project type they are allocated to. So your CIST projects, your TTF projects, your PRS projects, those are all going to be shown under your tax initiatives. Your motor fuel tax, your general enterprise funds, your casino revenue, those types are going to be under the recurring revenues. Here's just a brief overview of what the current year's plan is setting at. Under the recurring and grant revenue, we have program projects of approximately 51 million and contingent of about 63. Under the tax initiatives, about 88 million with contingent being 1.7. And then you can see the totals there, 139 and 65. And then the next steps in the CIP process, obtain input from this council. We will be having the public hearing on March 1st, and then we will also be adopting in that same meeting the resolution for the adoption of the CIP. And then during the budget process, we will fold into the budget, the CIP, and other things that are listed there. And before I get to the questions section of this, for the council members, if they remember back to last year, when this process was done, your document was much more of a wordy document instead of what you have in front of you now. I wanted to get back to this format. I've used it in the past. And what it allows us to do is, for a lot of the big projects that we have that are multi-year, which there are a lot of them, it shows them in one line. So this council can see on these larger projects what the cost per year is going to be, where in the prior document, one of the confusing issues is those are split out amongst separate pages by year instead of by project. And I wanted to get something a little cleaner and a little more transparent when it comes to those types of projects. So when we have something going out over multiple years, you're not assuming it's going to be 100,000 when in fact it's 500,000. So I will entertain questions from the council.
I had a question, if I can go real quick. Dustin, under community development, under non-transportation streetlights, there was a contingency cost of $50,000. Is that based on any specific ideas yet at this point, or is that just kind of a general thing that ends up in these types of things because they tend to come up?
My apologies. I was trying to get to the page and I didn't get which item you were talking about.
I'm sorry. Under community development, under non-transportation streetlights. And I don't have it pulled up.
So that's not a specific, oh, sorry.
I might be able to speak to it, Dustin, if you don't mind. This is an item that was brought up from some of my discussions with council members about streetlights and our streetlight program. All of our streetlight programs are based on the transportation model of assisting in making people driving their cars safer and people at intersections safer. And so the question was, and so this kind of helps facilitate a discussion, was, could there be a program whereby you added additional safety lights, say mid-block, for more of a safety of citizens rather than the driving safety? So really, it really was a plug number, if you will, 50,000 to say, something to develop a program if council was interested in us looking at something like that, identifying funding and then developing a program whereby streetlights could be added. Currently, what we do with those kind of requests is we send people to Ameren, and Ameren will put up a dusk to dawn light, and the citizen basically ends up paying for it. So that's what we've done in the past. And like I said, this is more to facilitate a discussion if that is a program that council would want to pursue, or have it just leave it on there as is, or if you'd like us to pursue more information or remove it.
Well, thank you. It caught my eye just because, and I can't comment to the figure that you have down there or, anything like that. But just in the past year with the TTF discussion, also with community members just contacting me, lighting and specifically pedestrian type lighting has been an issue brought up. So anyway, it seems like that would be a good idea to certainly consider in the future. I can't speak to the number or anything like that, but that's all I had. I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. I think Nate was interested in this as well, and he's not on tonight, so I try not to talk for him, but I know this, I think, was an item that he was interested in as well, and Shelley has shown some interest. So
I'll bring up a question that I asked Dustin, and maybe council was not aware of. In looking through this thing, there was one particular item there replacing a 2008 Chevrolet Suburban that I looked was in a contingent item, and the replacement cost was $368,500. And I thought, my Lord, that's an expensive Suburban. But then I'll let Dustin kind of tell you all what he told me in case you all have a question about that, if it's something that pops out at you later.
And that's on page 16. It's the fourth line from the bottom for those of you that have it in front of you. What this is, in talking with the fire department, this is one of their fleet vehicles. And essentially what it truly is a 2008 Suburban. It's just a very special one. This houses, and I'm going to speak very generally, but essentially what it is a mass communication vehicle. In the event, and the example that was used to explain it to me, since I'm not a fire guy, was when Joplin had that massive tornado a number of years ago and everything was wiped out. They had no communication. They had no way to talk to each other. And you have emergency responders going into these facilities that are essentially about to cave in and they need to be able to talk. What this vehicle does is it has satellite capabilities, radios, all these other things. So all the first responders can actually communicate with each other. It is not made so somebody down the road can talk on their cell phone. It's for the first responders, but this mobile unit can go into one of those disasters and basically create a communication platform for all the first responders. I believe it's one of two in the region that we house. So when this is to be replaced, the last one was purchased with, I believe, Homeland Security funds, and it was basically grant funding that paid for it. And likely if that is replaced, we would try to go for grant money again to replace it. But at this point, there's not a need for replacement. So it's kind of sitting back in contingent until we get to that point.
Okay. It just caught my eye because of the amount and the vehicle it was replacing. And I do remember being at the fire station and seeing that vehicle, and it is something to behold with the equipment it's got in it. And if you've not seen it, it's an amazing looking vehicle. Anybody else have any questions? You know, I know it's a draft, and there were some questions that came up, I think that have been answered about amounts and whatnot, but we will be looking at this again in the future. And there are still some items that we may talk about removing. There are some we may talk about adding. So it's a moving document.
Yes, Mayor, it is, and it's also a living document after it's even approved. We are constantly looking for additional funding for when we actually purchase something. Sometimes it's more expensive, less expensive. So it is a living document. If you don't mind, I might point out a few additional things that are in there, not to take Dustin's fanfare, but I just wanted to point out on number 9 under administrative services, you'll see there's funding there for what we call our FF&E, which is like the furniture and the technology and some of the things that need to go into our new city hall. That was not intended for us to conclude that in that project. So there is money there for that. That will primarily come out of casino funds. I've just got a few more to point out. Excuse me. On page 13 under community development, we did add a boat dock feasibility study at the Registrar, possibility of having that. And then that's also where the non-transportation streetlights is. And then we also added electrical vehicle charging stations as a possibility of a program to look into. So those are some of the things that have come out throughout the discussion. And so we think you'll want to look at those and discuss those in the next couple of weeks prior to the vote, the hearing, the public hearing, and then the vote next meeting. So that'll be next meeting on the 1st. It will be a resolution, so it will not be, it's just one vote. It's not a ordinance. Also, I think there are several parking garages downtown, and someone asked me if we wanted to have a discussion at some point about those downtown parking garages with the new parking garage that will be a part of the city hall, and if people can use that in the off hours, in the night and in the weekends. So that just something to point out. Regarding fleet, our fleet is in overall good shape. There's a lot of pages there. I thought I'd just give you a quick update. Our fleet's in good shape. We have replaced much of our fleet through the fire tax, through the parks tax, through our water and sewer manages those. But we do have some weaknesses. We have streets, our trash vehicles, and our our pool cars and our development services vehicles. So there's some weaknesses there that we need to look at into the future and start thinking about a more robust replacement program. So that's just a note of caution going into this. We also have some traffic safety projects that we're looking to add, and so we may see those come up. And then the last one I have is page 33, the City Hall. There is an increase in that due to some change orders. So I wanted to note that it was 12 million and now it's 12, a little over 12 and a half. Not unexpected. We had some bad soil and the generator. So just wanted to point those things out because it's a lot to take in, and wanted to make sure you were aware of some of those changes. So thank you for listening.
Any other questions of Senator Scott? If not, we will move on in the agenda and go for any appearances on items not listed on the agenda. Nicolette, here you're going to have to help me with who's here and who's not.
We did have a Mr. Frank joining us.
I think Frank Allen is on. Mr. Allen, are you there?
Mr. Allen, you appear muted.
I'm sorry. I haven't been on Zoom much.
Okay.
You're good.
You're good. We hear you.
All right, here I go. Let me fix my lighting. All right. How you doing, sir? How you all doing?
Good.
I just wanted to, I know I'm Frank Allen. I am CEO of an organization called Almighty's Beautiful Children. And it's an organization that's godly and unity-based. And it's not just for the South Side from where I grew up at. We are all Almighty's Beautiful Children, even if somebody don't believe in God at all. And I was a chef at the country club for 3 years. But, I decided, that kids don't look up to a chef like they do somebody that's, helping their community out. And I can't keep relying on people that's not from Cape Girardeau to help my community the way I need it done through God's help. Our nation, it says one nation under God, right? And on money, it says in God we trust. I tried to go to banks and ask for money at one time in 2019 because, I'm known for working. I've been working my whole life, and they all called the police on me. After these are people that I fed while I was employed. People that, I'm known for working. Even if my credit ain't bad, my credit is good in the streets. And it's just a unity-based organization to help people out. And one of the things that I want to do is I want to do aluminum cans where they're like on the sidewalks or churches or businesses, parks, and it's just aluminum cans where I can help the community, and it might go on, let's say helping people pay bills and need bills paid, or let's say putting up some bus stops somewhere, maybe a bigger bus route. And then maybe we could put them lights up that dude was talking about. Put them lights up on where the bus stops are at. Have a 24-hour bus route. We have a new police station. They can enforce, they can protect, the areas that are the worst areas and stuff like that. Or I liked that Grocery Workers Day. We need to do a Kids Day. Maybe like 7/21/21. Let's do a kids day. You know, let's say on 6/21/21, we can do a soapbox derby. You know, over there by the where that parking garage at where y'all was talking about. Well, on North Lorimer, that big hill, why don't we go ahead and shut down Broadway, Whitener, Famous, Independence, and go old school? Why don't we do a soapbox day where people can be with their kids making soapbox cars, and we can have a soapbox race, you know, fundraise some money where we can give prizes out. You know, that's good for our community. Okay, what about what else? Helping the homeless. You know, that guy was talking about the construction, right? Why don't we go ahead and use his skills and build something? You know, call it the Almighty Beautiful Children Clubhouse, where we help the homeless and we help people that are leaving prison. You know, give them opportunities, you know, other than doing factory slave work, you know, where the people that run that get a cut of it. You know, the golf course board. I would love to build a golf course board. I know how to play golf. Huh. You know what I'm saying? I might not have money in the bank, but I guarantee, hey, word of mouth get you something. Okay, maybe a sugar campaign where we can do maybe, you know, where you can ask your friend, can I borrow some sugar for some Kool-Aid? You know, why don't we have a sugar campaign? See how many people we can do for that. We already talked about the bus routes. Maybe an ABC phone line. Because that one help, they don't call you back. And their services is not really reliable to me. You know, I bet if you had a survey, or the people probably would say the same. Why don't we do an Almighty Beautiful Children phone line? You know, I'm helping people right now. You know, I helped somebody with their groceries today. You know, because they couldn't get out to get them. You know what I'm saying? I help kids get money. Oh, what about being on the board, a board member? You know, what's the qualification of doing that? You know, since we get a new city hall, why don't we start changing things up a little bit? You know, what makes America great is all the beautiful colors. So with that being said, and also, I noticed you all had that community funding. Yeah, why don't we try to use some of that money for this? You know, like that would be pretty nice. You know, the South Side wants to look good. And also, and lastly, not least, you know, we are for the people, correct? Why aren't the sidewalks ever, why aren't they ever salted? You know, don't pedestrians got the right of way? Well, why, everybody don't have a car. You know what I'm saying? Like I was walking on water on my way from leaving the courthouse to the South Side. Luckily, I didn't fall, because if I would have failed, who do you sue for that? The city? You know what I'm saying? But thank you all for my time. I appreciate it. I really do. I would like to get some of these things started blossoming whenever spring starts. You know, with or without you all's help, you know, I got God on my side, so anything is possible. But with that being said, y'all can ask me the questions you want. Y'all can call me freely, talk to me. You know, I sent you my number. You know, I'm a real individual. You know, I could have just stayed being a chef, but I'm more than that. Now, with that being said, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate your input. Is there anybody else to address the council on any item not on the agenda this evening? Nicolette, was there anybody else there that I missed?
No one else is online, sir.
Okay. At this point, we'll have the agenda review. Scott?
Thank you. We have no public hearings tonight. We do have several items on the consent agenda. We have, the first one is the change of zoning at 1246 and 1248 Meadowbrook. The second, third reading of that. Then we have number 3, which is the second, third reading of the urban deer hunting. I know there has been some discussion about perhaps a couple of amendments. And so if you would desire, we could remove that at the time of the adopting of the agenda, if there's a desire to have that discussion after the consent. Yes or no? Yes, okay. All right. So we'll remove that one and have that discussion. My understanding was the two items that they wanted to discuss were making a minimum age of 18 and requiring some form of a bow hunting class or certification. So then you can talk about more if you wish to, but those are the two that I have heard of. Item number 4 is the second and third reading of the Chapter 25, the administrative relief for construction projects. Number 5 is a resolution for a grant for enforcement of hazardous moving violation. This and the next one, which is a grant for DWI enforcement, are grants that we put in and get each year. So it is that time of year to start that process. Number 7 is the performance guarantee agreement with Lil Mac for their subdivision. And then number 8 is the L&I, the license and indemnity agreement with Restore Me LLC for installation of a sign overhanging the right-of-way at 811 Broadway. Are there any other questions regarding the consent agenda or items you would like to remove from the consent agenda beyond item number 3?
Scott, I need to abstain from the Restore Me. I like I said, I don't have the agenda, but I need to abstain from that one.
All right, thank you. That
due to financial conflict of interest. Sorry.
Thank you. That's number 8. Item number 8. We'll so note, and we'll include that then as we take the notes. If not, then you have 2 new ordinances tonight. The first one is an ordinance that starts a process to pay off some bonds. It's always good to pay off some revenue bonds, and so we're able to do that. And moving forward with that, this starts that process. And then number 10 is the record plat. This is Kevin Greaser talked about approving that record plat at Planning and Zoning, and this does that for Drury Southwest as number 10. Number 11 will be the appointment of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, and I think the mayor has an indication of that appointment. That's all I have for agenda review.
That being the case, we will move to regular session and have the roll call, please. There she
Mayor
is.
Fox,
Here.
Mr. Guard,
Here.
Ms. Kinder,
Here.
Ms. Moore, is absent, Mr. Preston,
Here.
Mr. Thomas, is absent, and Ms. Truxell.
Here.
I will now entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Robbie,
Dan.
seconded by Dan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We have no public hearings. Any individuals here this evening to comment on any item on the agenda? Nicolette, is there anybody there that we're aware of?
You have staff available to you, sir, but none from the public.
Okay. At this point, we'll move to the consent agenda. And I'll read that since Eric's not with us tonight. I'm not going to read as fast as Eric does. Bill number 20.
I am here.
You are here? Okay, good, Eric.
I am here.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I figured out that to unmute, you press *6. Everybody needs to know that.
Everybody needs to know that. Okay.
Okay, I'm
Go ahead.
ready. Bill number 21-18, an ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, by changing the zoning of property located at 1246 and 1248 Meadowbrook Lane in the City and County of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, from M2 to M1. An ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, by changing the zoning of property located at 1246 and 1248 Meadowbrook Lane in the City and County of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, from M2 to M1. Skipping 21-18. Number 21-20, an ordinance amending Chapter 25 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, regarding administrative relief and exceptions, and ordinance amending chapter 25 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri regarding administrative relief and exceptions. Number 21-21, a resolution authorizing an application of the Missouri Department of Transportation for the Highway Safety and Enforcement Grant for hazardous moving violation enforcement and authorizing city manager to execute all necessary grant documents. Number 21-22, a resolution authorizing an application of the Missouri Department of Transportation for Highway Safety and Enforcement Grant for DWI enforcement and authorizing city manager to execute all necessary grant documents. Number 21-23, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a performance guarantee agreement with Lil Mac LLC for Lil Mac East subdivision in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And bill number 21-24, resolution authorizing city manager to execute a license and indemnity agreement with Restore Me LLC for sign installation located adjacent to 811 Broadway in the city, county of Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
You have before you the consent agenda. I'll
Please
entertain
have
a motion.
moved.
Second.
Motion from Bobby, second by Dan. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We have one item removed from the consent agenda. It is Bill 21-19, an ordinance amending Chapter 17 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri by adopting a new section 17-104 relating to urban deer hunting. Bill number 21-19, an ordinance amending Chapter 17 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri by adopting a new section 17-104 relating to urban deer hunting.
So moved.
Motion by Dan. Do I hear second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Stacy. All right. Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
During our first reading, I know that we had talked about subparagraph C5, which talks about the 18 years of age or older, which we had amended.
Yes.
In the original language of that, there was a sub portion of that that said that talked about valid hunter education certificate card. And it's been brought to our attention since the last meeting that we were under the impression that any hunter to obtain an archery permit had to have gone through some type of hunter education certification course, which we now know is not correct. Someone who is specific bow hunter does not have to go through an MHEC certification class to get their card. So there's two options that we can discuss, only requiring the MHEC certification, which would not necessarily target all bow hunters, or also advise that, that they would have to have their bow hunter education certificate card. So my suggestion, so that we cover all scenarios with potential hunters that are going to be involved in this hunt, is to require a valid hunter education certificate card or a valid bow hunter education certificate card, and all must be over the age of 18.
I like that.
Okay.
And
And we talked about that at the last meeting. I guess we were kind of confused on how the 18 language, there was some confusion there on that. I thought we had made that amendment. Now, finding out about the hunter safety card, I didn't realize, we did not realize, obviously, that to bow hunt, you had to have that. So, I mean, guys, most people who bow hunt, gun hunt anyway. So I don't think it's going to eliminate. Sorry, I got a phone call from the mayor's son, actually. Gosh dang it. Cop, stop calling Jim. So I don't think it's too much to ask. I don't think we're going to eliminate a bunch of hunters that would be, and I think that would give an extra layer of safety for us, knowing, and our residents knowing that they've got people out there that have at least went through the hunter safety course. That's my 2 cents.
Stacy?
I just have one further question. I'm totally in support of that. Do we have to require it's a Missouri certification? Is it conceivable that somebody would have, an education course from another state? Maybe they moved here 5 years ago.
Well, a lot of them have reciprocity, like, is that it? How,
Reciprocity.
reciprocity. Thank you. Sorry, I'm tongue tied. But like Dustin Ziebold had talked about how the last time he had to get his Missouri, he had to present something from Wyoming or Montana, I thought.
So, in order for me to get a hunting license for hunting here, I can show my Illinois hunter education card, and there is reciprocity there.
Okay.
Because majority of the state programs are very, very similar, and they're all covering the same safety, these types of things. So in addition, this hunt under the state is open to non-residents. So if a person in Illinois wanted to hunt, they could. It's a much higher price, but they could. But their Illinois hunter education would play here. They would have to get the Missouri proper permits in Missouri, but their Illinois education course does allow. And the Department of Conservation does accept that as a valid form of education.
Okay.
Does
So
that answer the question you had?
Well, I think so. So if we said MEHC, any other state would automatically work also. Or do we need to eliminate the Missouri?
I would say eliminate the Missouri.
Okay.
And I can find language, and maybe me and Eric can work on that, but there should be language within the statute that conservation uses to allow hunters from other states to bring their hunter education course from where they're originally from over, similar to what I have to do when I got here. And we could probably find that language if that would be satisfactory.
I don't even think we need to, really.
Yes,
Just
the language is already there in the original ordinance. In that same subparagraph, it said, basically, unless such person is in the immediate presence of a properly licensed adult hunter who is 18 years of age or older and has in his or her possession a valid hunter education certificate card. I would just use that language, a valid hunter education certificate card or a valid bow hunter education certificate card.
Yeah,
we can do that.
All right.
And I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the resolution to add a valid hunter education card, hunter education certificate card,
Or bow hunter
certificate card. Okay. That meet with everybody's. Any further discussion? If
Question.
not,
Are you good with that being in C5?
Does it need to be another subparagraph? I mean, can we have the age of 18 years and up and that's underneath that subparagraph?
I think I'd put it with the age.
Okay.
I think we can put that all within that same section. I think would be good.
Okay. Okay, we have that motion and second to amend it. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the amendment, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
You have now before you the amended motion, or the
So
amended
moved.
ordinance 21-19.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Robbie. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Shannon. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. That motion carries. We have bill number 21-25, an ordinance authorizing the appropriation of $503,719.07 for the purpose of defeasing the city's waterworks system revenue bond, State of Missouri Direct Loan Program, ARRA Series 2010, and authorizing certain actions in connection with the defeasance of the bonds.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dan, seconded by Robbie. Any discussion? It's always nice to pay off bonds and save some interest. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Bill number 21-26, an ordinance approving the record plat of Cape West 18th subdivision.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Robbie, seconded by Dan. Any discussion? If not, All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We have one appointment this evening. That's an appointment to Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. And that appointment looks to be, according to the information I've received from Scott and the votes, is Shatez Robinson. I think it's a great thing that this young man has volunteered to serve his community. And I hope he can offer a lot to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board and hear some things that they may not hear from other people. Him being young and will give them some good input, I think. I don't think there's any other business. At this time, I'll thank everybody for being here tonight. And
Did we have a motion to approve Shatez Robinson?
oh yes, I guess we do need that.
So
No.
moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Sorry about that, Eric. Got carried away. I was,
Make a motion to adjourn, Mayor.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you all for being with us tonight on Zoom, and March 1st, we will meet in session again, hopefully without all the snow and the bad weather. So all
Thank
those
you,
in favor
Public
say
Works.
aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very
Public
much.
Works.
And thank you, staff, for putting up with us again.